Welcome to Bridging the Gap. We're working in the book of First Thessalonians, which we've been working through this month in our Saturday evening Bible study. So today we're finally at chapter 5, and we're working with verses 1 through 11 this Saturday. And the part of the big point of what we're going to bring out today is the coming of the Lord, or the day of the Lord. It means a lot of different things to different people. Throughout the biblical times in Old Testament and stuff like that, the day of the Lord was promised as a coming judgment for those who are not doing what's right. Israel would be going through significant problems that they were having because of their disobedience, and it seemed like that they were being punished or disciplined in some way. Discipline's a much better word to use than punishment, to keep them on track so that they could move forward. And so while they were going through that, everybody knows that discipline is not pleasant. And so they would be looking for the day of the Lord when he would come and he would rectify the situation and bring Israel back to where they needed to be, and carry out judgment upon the people that were persecuting them or disciplining them from the Lord's perspective. So the day of the Lord coming seems to be a really bad thing now, and they look forward to it. And even later on, as they go through, they look forward to it, meaning that the Lord was coming, the Messiah was coming. He was going to judge all the people around them and punish them for their evil doing and set up his kingdom. A lot of times we look back on that now, and they didn't understand that was going to come in two parts. The Messiah was going to come, which they foretold, and through the prophecies and the different things pointed to the fact that the Messiah was coming, and that he did come, but he didn't set up that kingdom that they expected. And then that is coming later, as we believe now. When the Messiah came, he left, he went to prepare us a place, and now he is going to come back at his appointed time. And that is the day that we are looking forward to, the final part when he comes back. And that's what Paul's alluding to in most of the problems that we've had. We've seen in chapter 4 where we were talking about their error in what they were thinking about people that had died before. And now he's pointing out to the fact that his coming is coming, and we need to be ready. And that's one thing we can look at the political situation that's going on around us. We know that the church is not ready, and it's sad to say that I've been dealing with lots of things here at the mission and doing different things with our ministries that we do here. And we see that the church as a whole, and I'm not talking about individual First Baptist XYZ or whatever, even Vidalia's Bridge or whatever, is not ready. We are not ready. We can tell that by our responses to things, like this global pandemic that has come across us, and the church's response to those things is sad. It makes me upset when I realize that the church has so many resources and so many ways to reach out and do more for the world that they're not doing, and that is really sad to me, to think about how many people are going to hell around us and we're doing nothing. And there are pockets of us that are trying and we're reaching out, but even some of the most active ones still feel the same way. And I think that's part of the reason that we feel that way. We're constantly drawn to do more. That's one of the things that here at this ministry that we look forward is ways that we can reach out and help our neighbors and help the people around us, to share the gospel, being the hands and feet of Christ as we reach out into our neighbors and our families that are surrounding us. There are 4 points that we need to kind of bring out, that we're going to be bringing out, especially in more detail on Saturday. One is the coming is going to be unexpected, so we have to live expecting it to happen at any moment. There are lots of times that I've heard the saying, it's almost cliche, that we should plan like we're going to be here forever, but expect to be pulled up at any second. And that's the way we need to be as Christians. We need to be planning ahead, looking forward into what our ministries can reach out, and figuring out ways to reach our neighbors and to share the gospel, because we don't know how long it's going to be until he gets here. So we need to be planning that. We need to be looking to the future and figuring out ways to expand and be able to move forward. Hold on just a moment. I cannot take that. All right. Yeah, sorry about that. So we need to be looking forward and living expectantly for him to come, because he's going to come at any moment. And there are several places that he tells us that he's going to come when we're not ready. The parable of the 10 virgins, the wise and the unwise virgins, that were waiting for the bridegroom to come, and 5 were ready and 5 were not. We don't want to be the ones that are not ready. We have to be living expectantly that he's going to come at any moment, and we're prepared to do that. But the big difference between the 2 that were ready, all 10 may have been ready, but only 5 were prepared for the long haul. And however long it takes, we're going to be ready. And that's the way the church needs to be. We need to be prepared for the long haul by doing what we can, and doing the different things that we do, our ministries, and reaching out to others. Another thing we have to do is we have to be vigilant. Now, when we're talking about being vigilant, it puts in mind, at least in the way that Paul has wrote this, as a soldier who is always watching and waiting. You know, he's waiting for somebody to breach that perimeter or whatever, so that he can be ready to respond. We have to be that way too. We have to be willing and watching and vigilantly looking for the Lord to come back, so that we're ready to go at that moment's notice. So that isn't always ready. You know, that's not I just didn't really feel like getting prepared today, because that's exactly what happens when a thief comes to break into your house. He doesn't do it in the middle of the daytime when you're standing guard and you're ready for it. He waits until you're not ready. So we always have to be vigilant, always looking, always listening for that moment when he comes, so that we're ready to do that. The third thing that I want to say is we have to be obedient. God has given us all a call and a thing that we need to be doing, something. Every person out there, every Christian has a ministry. You may not be surrounded by a building. You may not have kids coming in every week so you can minister to them. You may not have somebody to preach to every Sunday, but you still have a ministry. Every day in your life, everywhere you go, no matter what's going on around you, you should be doing your ministry. You should be reaching out and helping. And God makes that different for every one of us. Now, I'm not telling us that we need to just be doing things that are interesting to us. I mean, there are several people that I know that have taken hobbies and turned them into ministries. To a certain extent, yeah, that's good. God does use the things that we're interested in, and makes it easier for us to spread the gospel using those things, because we have abilities, we have interest in that. But let's be very careful about what we classify as a ministry. We need to be doing ministry every day and everywhere that we go. So let's make sure that we're listening to God and being obedient to the things that he tells us to do. I was talking to a guy this week that felt like God is calling him to go to a certain church in order to do that, but he's not exactly sure about money. And I was like, God didn't tell us to worry about money. He told us to seek his kingdom first, put him first, and he'll put all the rest of the stuff in there. So if we're picking and choosing the ministries that we go to based on how much money we're going to get out of it, then we have the wrong motivation, and we need to make sure that we're being obedient first and listening to what God has for us above all else. You know, there were many times when God showed us how to start this ministry, which He didn't really show us how; He just told us to do it. Uh, but when we got started in this ministry to do this thing, there were many times that we had no idea how we were going to do it. I mean, we started a ministry with $1. I mean, and God has blessed and done what He's done here because of our willingness to obey. If for nothing else, He may not have, God may have bigger plans and better things, but we can't accomplish those if we're not willing to listen and obey in everything that is. And then the final point that I wanted to bring out here that I found that I really liked is that we always have to be learning and importantly teaching. As we learn things that God has shown us, we need to make sure that we're reciprocating. We're spitting that out to the next person. It's not a very good word to use, but we have to be regurgitating that back to somebody else. When we learn something, a skill that we learn, it's important that we share it with somebody else. That part of the things that I learned in college and doing the different degrees that I've been pursued was the best way for me to learn something was for me to show somebody else how to do it. Even in Boy Scouts, that was one of the classic things that we did. We showed them how to do it. We told them how to do it. We showed them how to do it. We had them show us how to do it. And they learned it more by showing me how to do it than anything that I could have told them. And that's the same thing that we can do as we're looking forward to the future, is sharing the gospel the way that He wants us to do it, and moving forward with that, being obedient in everything that we do, and teaching others about the gospel. Discipleship is key in everything that we do. And if we're not discipling people, and that's teaching and helping them to grow in their salvation and grow into their faith, then we're missing the mark. So many churches have focused on conversions and baptisms, and they have forgotten all about what it takes to live every day and move forward in your walk with Christ. We need to be teaching that and sharing that as we go. I'm just very thankful for the opportunity that we've had, that we can come and share. If you get the opportunity to come over and be with us on Saturday evening at 6 o'clock, we always have coffee. It takes us about an hour, a little bit more sometimes, depending on how rowdy we get with our discussion. But I can guarantee you that we'll go much deeper than what I've done in this little short video. I pray that you will have a blessed week, and as you continue to go forward, thank you for joining us.